Okay, let's talk about government jobs. But wait, before you answer, I want you to just forget everything you think you know, because we're about to explore the surprising reality of public service in 2025, and I promise you, it's not what you're picturing. So, let's dive in. Yeah, when most of us hear government job, this is pretty much the image that comes to mind, right? It's this stubborn stereotype of a slow, kind of stagnant, and, let's be honest, uninspiring career path.
But here's the thing. What if that whole picture is just completely out of date? The reality on the ground has changed so dramatically, but public perception? Well, it just hasn't quite caught up yet.
And we're not talking about some minor update. This is a massive generational shift. That old gray suit stereotype is clashing head on with a brand new reality. And that's creating a huge, huge opportunity. Now get this. This number is the whole story. In a lot of Western countries, somewhere between 25 and 40% of the entire public sector workforce is eligible to retire in the next 5 years. Just think about that for a second.
And that massive wave of retirements? It's not just creating a few openings here and there. We're talking about thousands of new entry-level jobs. Agencies are literally being forced to build their talent pipeline from the ground up.
So the crucial point is this. The workplaces these new hires are walking into look nothing like the old stereotype. Think fully remote or hybrid teams, agile projects, digital service labs, innovation hubs. Honestly, it feels a lot more like a tech company than a traditional bureaucracy these days. So let's just tackle the biggest misconceptions head on, right? We're going to bust the 3 biggest myths that stop talented people from even considering a career in public service. Let's do it. This is probably the one I hear the most. This belief that the doors are just completely closed unless you already have a decade of some very specific, direct experience under your belt. But the reality is completely different. Governments are actively creating entry-level positions. So you want to look for titles like trainee, assistant, or officer one. They are designed specifically for people who are just starting out. And that's because government hiring defines experience way more broadly than you might think. Have you ever managed a big school project, handled difficult customers in a retail job? That is exactly the kind of transferable skill they're looking for. Okay, let's talk about the money. The second major myth is that, you have to basically take a vow of poverty to work for the public, and that there's no real chance to grow your career. But if you look at the data, for a lot of entry-level roles, the public sector starting salary is often higher than a comparable private sector job. We're talking a potential difference of over $10,000 right out of the gate. And the salary is really just the tip of the iceberg. When you start to factor in things like a defined benefit pension, a guaranteed income for life after you retire, which is almost unheard of today, plus great benefits and job security, the total compensation package is often way, way higher. And now for the big one. The myth that no matter what you do, the work itself is just soul-crushingly dull. Endless paper pushing and red tape with zero real impact. The reality is that government work is fundamentally about solving people's problems. It's mission-driven work where the outcome directly affects the actual lives of your friends, your family, and your neighbors. And we are not talking about small problems here. Entry-level staff are contributing to some of the most complex and important challenges we face today, everything from cybersecurity defense to tackling housing affordability. So you might be thinking, okay, I'm convinced, but what jobs are actually available? Well, let's look at a few high-growth areas that you could apply for right now. First up, digital and tech. Governments are desperately trying to build their own in-house tech talent, and they're more than willing to train people on the job. So if you have any kind of aptitude for data or IT, these roles are a fantastic entry point. Now, what's really interesting here is procurement. This is like a hidden career track. The government buys everything from paperclips to fighter jets, and the people who manage those contracts have incredible career mobility and growth potential. Okay, I know applying for these jobs can feel super intimidating, but it's just a system. And once you understand the rules of that system, it becomes completely manageable. So let's break it down. It really boils down to a 4-step plan. First, read the job announcement and focus only on the required qualifications, not the nice-to-haves. Second, your resume. Make it detailed. Seriously, 2 to 5 pages is normal in government hiring because they want all the details. Third,
Write statements that use concrete examples of your experience. And finally, prepare for the structured, competency-based interview. Let's look at a key tool for those last two steps.
And this is the single most important tool for your application, the STAR method. It's how you prove your experience. So instead of just saying, I'm a team player, you describe a specific situation, the task you had, the action you took, and the positive result. It's all about showing, not just telling. So why does all this matter, especially right now? Well, it all comes down to one word: stability. In an economic climate that's defined by layoffs and uncertainty, the security you get from public service has become more valuable than ever. And that leaves us with a final thought. In a world where everything feels so unpredictable, maybe choosing a path that offers a pension, job security, and purpose-driven work isn't the boring choice. Maybe it's the smartest one.